Welcome back to Adventures in Raising Grands, The Lowdown. Thank you for watching and sharing. Please remember to like and subscribe also. Today, this episode, we're talking about the challenges and the rewards of grandparents raising their grandchildren. Let's face it, we all prefer to hear the bad news first. So let's start off with talking about the challenges that grandparents raising their grandchildren experience. We're going to be talking about a lot of the challenges that we face. If you face other challenges and would like to discuss them, please email or comment below. One of the hardest challenges that grandparents raising their grandchildren face is isolation. Most grandparents feel out of place with their friends. Friends don't have small children. Also, their friends don't want to hang out with small children. This requires grandparents to make new friends. It really basically leaves two options for finding new friends. The first option is that they can make friends with their grandchildren's friends' parents. But this means that you're going to be hanging out with people who are 20 to 30 years younger than you. Personally, I don't have much in common with people who are 20 to 30 years younger than I am, and I'm not real fond of their music either. And most of the time with their slang terms, I have no idea what they're saying. Another way for grandparents to reach out to find other grandparents that are raising their grandchildren. The problem with this is a lot of grandparents don't want to publicize that they're raising their grandchildren, in fear of being judged or blamed for their situation. They also may be embarrassed about why they have their grandchildren. Personally, I'm not shouting it from the rooftops that why we're raising our grandchildren. I guess by doing this video, we actually are doing that. Another of the biggest challenges that grandparents raising grandchildren face is financial stress. Finances are a huge challenge for most grandparents raising grandchildren because a lot of grandparents are retired and living on fixed incomes. They hadn't planned on having the extra expenses that come with raising children. Extra expenses like clothes, food, a larger house, and daycare. I know that when we started this adventure, our electric bill and water bill both went up as well. Another large financial burden is medical care, whether it be physical or mental. These grandchildren require regular physical and emotional assistance. Many of us receive Medicaid for the children, and that helps out with a lot of the costs. But we still have to take the time off work if you're working. And you have to drive them and spend gas money to constantly get them to these appointments, and the expenses just continue to add up. Another challenge for grandparents raising grandchildren are health issues. We grandparents tend to put our grandchildren first and worry more about them than we do ourselves, which means that if we have a slight cold or a small medical problem, we put it on the back burner so that we can take care of the children. This means that sometimes it can get worse than it would have been if we'd have gotten it checked out in the first place. I happen to have quite a few medical problems. I had them since before this adventure began. But they have gotten worse because I'm unable to take care of them the way that I need to. We know that we need to make sure that we take care of ourselves, and that's something that every grandparent needs to remember. We cannot take care of our children if we haven't taken care of ourselves. Grandchildren that are being raised by their grandparents tend to have behavior problems and emotional issues. And this is a challenge for the grandparents to deal with. It requires a lot of patience and time. You may have to take them to counseling or behavior therapy or other therapies, especially if they're developmentally delayed, which is also something that's very common in the children that are being raised by their grandparents. Grandparents also have to learn new ways and the new techniques for discipline and caring for the children with their behavior. These problems include feelings of abandonment, social attachment issues, emotional problems, problems with their academics. Many of the younger children have separation anxieties as well. This comes with its own set of challenges. Another challenge is grandparents find themselves living in unsafe neighborhoods because they had to find a larger home in order to take the children in, or because of the fixed income, they may not be able to afford something in one of the better neighborhoods. A lot of grandparents, when they retire, sell the home and move into a condo or buy an RV. They downsize. But in order to take in the grandchildren, they need to buy a home that has enough bedrooms. Another challenge that grandparents have is dealing with the loss of the golden years. Parenting instead of enjoying life. I'm not saying that raising our grandchildren is not enjoyable. It's just not something that we planned. It's very difficult to give up a dream that you had, even knowing all the benefits that you are getting from raising these children. For example, we had our house up for sale and we're planning on buying an RV. We were going to travel around the country for about a year before buying a cabin in the mountains and settling down. We were going to raise a few animals and just relax and enjoy ourselves. We were going to work on different projects. Me, I was going to be quilting and crafting, and Ed was going to be working with wood and metal, creating projects. We were going to take off on weekends on our Harley-Davidson motorcycle. We had many plans. Now our plans are just different. They include small children. One of the biggest challenges that some grandparents face is dealing with the adult children. Trying to deal with their substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs. Many adult children also have mental health issues. Sometimes they're in and out of rehab. And depending on the adult child, they may resort to stealing things from your home in order to support their habit. Adult children may also be incarcerated, and that comes with a whole other set of challenges and decisions to be made. When dealing with adult children, you have to deal with their sporadic contact. You have to deal with their anger, and you deal with the name calling and all of the drama that comes along with that. You deal with not knowing if they have a place to sleep or a place to live. You deal with not knowing if they're living in the streets. Because grandparents are the ones doing the raising, we are the ones that are left to explain it to the children. Being a grandparent and raising your grandchildren also brings challenges of legal issues. Going to court and getting guardianship or custody or choosing adoption. You have to decide what is right for you. I found out that with guardianship, legally you're not allowed to change the doctor, the insurance. We're not allowed to choose the child's religion. And we also found that we're not allowed to make decisions dealing with their education. Grandparents need to decide if they should get an attorney, if they can afford one, which just takes us back to the financial stress and challenge. It's all a very large, vicious circle. Now let's look at the good news, the rewards. This is the good part of raising our grandchildren. If you'd like to share or discuss any rewards that we don't discuss here today, please comment or email us. When grandparents are raising their grandchildren, there are many rewards, but first and foremost, the biggest reward of all is love. It's the giving of love and the receiving of love. For some of the most precious moments are when our grandchildren put their arms around us and give us a big hug. When they look up at us and they say, "I love you," nothing warms our hearts more. When our princess was about 3 years old, she started copying Ed, saying, "I love you," more. It was just the cutest thing. She just giggled if she said it before Papa did. This is one of our little traditions that we started when we were dating, and now to hear the grandchildren copying it is just music to our ears. But nothing will ever be sweeter than the sloppy, wet goodnight kisses from our little sunshine. The knowledge that our grandchildren are safe and are being cared for is reward like no other. Just knowing that they are going to bed with their tummies full and knowing that they have a bed to sleep in that's clean and clothes to wear. Knowing that you're giving these children security and safety is a reward like no other. Being able to keep the family together is very rewarding. Keeping the children out of foster homes where they could have more trauma and more issues makes most grandparents take their grandchildren in. We find it very rewarding to see the joy in their faces when they learn something new or get something new. Grandchildren that are exposed to violence and drugs tend to show joy at the smallest things. Their eyes light up when they receive positive attention. You can see the joy on their faces when you spend time with them. Nothing ever beats the joy that shines out of their eyes when they're happy and they're safe and they're loved. and that is an amazing reward. Many grandparents find it rewarding when they are able to raise their grandchildren, to be able to show them their values and pass on their wisdom. It's rewarding to have this opportunity to guide the child to be a responsible adult, to be able to pass on your memories and your traditions to these children is a reward that most grandparents don't get the chance to do. Another reward is often said that when grandparents are raising their grandchildren, it keeps them young. I like this reward. It helps to maintain youthfulness, and it gives you more energy because you're taking better care of yourself. Now, this only works if you really are taking better care of yourself. So don't neglect yourself. You are a lot more active, and so they say that you will live longer. Many grandparents are raising their grandchildren, develop a deeper relationship with those children that they are raising. We found that raising our grandchildren is more rewarding than raising our children because we have more time to spend with our grandchildren. When we were raising our children, we were unable to stay at home and spend as much time with them because we had jobs. But now, as a stay-at-home Mimi and Papa getting ready to retire, we will have a lot more time to take care of the grandchildren. We also have more knowledge this time around. We know what works and what doesn't work. Raising our grandchildren has taught us a lot of things. We have learned how strong we are and what we're capable of. We have learned how adventurous we can really be. We have learned not to judge other people. We have also learned acceptance. I think that this adventure has made us better people. Another amazing reward is laughter. We have laughed more since this adventure began than ever. We laugh at the things that the kids say, and we laugh at the things that they do. We laugh at each other, and sometimes it's not funny. I grew up with my mom telling me all the time that laughter was the best medicine. I truly believe that every day, every moment, there's something to laugh about. Whether it's Ed's reactions to Sunshine's dirty diapers, or Monkey's silly antics to get her to smile. We laugh when we hear strange noises coming from the monitor, and we get tickled when we're pretty sure that Sunshine has an owl hidden somewhere in her room. When our little Sunshine laughs, you can't help but laugh with her. Her whole face lights up, and her smile just radiates, and her eyes twinkle. So if you ever get the opportunity to raise your grandchildren, be sure to remember that there's going to be lots of rewards and challenges. There will be plenty of blessings and laughs and positive experiences. There's a lot of joy coming your way through all of the challenges. It's going to be an adventure. Now it's time for our adventure challenge. This is the time when we challenge you to do something with your grandchildren and take a photo and send it to us. Our email is at the end of this video. This can be something special like cake or cookies, or it can be something as simple as just your routine dinner. Here are some pictures of us doing the adventure challenge with our grandchildren. Be sure to watch for the next episode of The Lowdown. In the next episode, we will be discussing the need for self-care and support. Until next time, send in those photos.